Hello, so it is actually a day early on this. Normally I film these on Sundays, but I do not know if I will be able to have the time tomorrow, so I'm just gonna do this Saturday night. So this is my March 14th, 2021 weekly wrap up. It is technically March 13th. I might finish the complete Jack the Ripper before tonight ends, but who knows. So we're just gonna wrap up the 4 books that are this past week. We got 2 thrillers, 1 contemporary, 1 manga, 2 3 stars, 2 4 stars. Pretty good week. First up, I read Behind Closed Doors by B.A. Paris. This is about a woman who falls in love with this man that she meets because unlike every other man that she ever starts dating, he seems to be not turned off by the fact that she's got a younger sister with Down syndrome that she's going to be probably looking after for the rest of her life. And so she falls in love with this man, and it turns out that he's a abusive asshole of like complete villainous proportions. He is honestly, this was my main problem with the book because Jack, the villain, right? Yep. Was just absolutely unbelievably villainous. Like he acted like a comic book villain. Like there was no subtlety to him at all. And I realized that yeah, incredibly evil people exist, but it was just so overdone. Like it was a very interesting story. The what he was really after was different than I thought it was going to be. So that was really interesting. It was fast paced. I kind of realized how she was going to get rid of him like just a little bit before that's what she did. And that was pretty fantastic. It was fun. It was good. I don't regret reading it. I mean, if you're expecting this to be an incredibly realistic or well thought out, I guess it's pretty well thought out, but incredibly realistic, I would maybe skip it. Although I don't know how many like psychological domestic thrillers are super, realistic. But yeah, it was all right. I ended up giving it 3 out of 5 stars. I do have, I think, the breakdown on the book wall, so I will be reading more from this author. It's just pretty meh. Then I picked up Fat Boy Swim by Catherine Forde. This is an old young adult book about this boy. What's his? I don't know. Jim Kelly. This kid who he is obese and he gets a lot of bullying from it. But then he ends up discovering the magic of swimming, and then he loses a bunch of weight. It's actually a lot better than one would think given that description. There is a lot in this book. Like this book is from like the early 2000s. There's a lot in this book that would get completely put on blast if it came out today, especially considering weight stuff. Because Jim is, I mean, like, there is a lot in here where like the bullying, I will say, is also very, very explicit. Like it's the bullying was a lot more graphic and cruel than I was expecting. A lot of times in young adult bullies in young adult are like they'll just like push somebody around. They'll be like, "Ha, nerd," and they just like shove somebody down. They might hit them in the face once. But this bullying was cruel. It was personal, and it was actually pretty dark. So I will say that. I mean, it was very weight. Like this boy is obese, and it is described in very graphic detail, and it is described in some less than nice terms. So I would think about that before going into it. But like I said, it was a lot better than I was expecting it to be. There were some interesting twists. I did grow to kind of care about the characters and care about what was happening. There were some really good food descriptions, so it's cool because Jim, as well as all the stuff, he is a very good chef. He's a very accomplished chef, so that was pretty cool. And yeah, it was okay. Like I said, be aware that a lot of the language in here might make you upset if you are sensitive to things like, let me see, "Oi boobsy, move your fat butt, we're under pressure here," which is the first line. And it's not even just in dialogue too, it's in the narration too, like describing him. It's not nice. And so like if you're sensitive to that, keep that in mind. I don't mind that so much, but you might. So then I took a trip back to the 8th grade and I read Bleach Volume 64 by Tite Kubo. I am not, in any sense of the word, reading these in order. Bleach was an anime and manga that I read and watched when I was in like middle school, and I think I stopped watching the anime somewhere around episode 300. The manga I really just read what they had at the bookmobile and then whatever I bought at Walmart. So it was kind of skipping around here and there, but like I said, like I've got random copies in the book wall, stuff like that. So Bleach is about this boy named Ichigo Kurosaki who can see ghosts, and one day this giant monster attacks his family, and this girl in a black outfit gives him some of her powers, and he becomes the Soul Reaper. And so at this point, so much has happened. Like the scope of this story has gotten huge. Bleach is one of the big three animes alongside Naruto and One Piece. I think it's the shortest out of those ones, but it's still, I mean, it's a very large scale situation. I really enjoy it, and like this book brought me straight back to 8th grade and made me want to because I'm currently kind of rewatching the series, and it made me want to buy up all the books. I did bid a lot on a couple of lots on eBay, so I'm actually not doing super hot on my book buying restrictions right now. I also went to a little used bookstore today, so fuck me, I guess. But I do really enjoy this series. It holds a lot of nostalgia factor for me, but I also really like the world has inspired me a lot. If you read this series and then you read my Pentology of Hell, you will notice things like there are 80 divisions and there are 80 little different parts in the Soul Society, and that is definitely inspired by this. The art style is also pretty, I mean, it's a very fun, it's a very like kind of usual art style for manga, but I think it's very good. I really like it. Tite Kubo is, I think, a very, very, very good artist. Yeah, I think I gave this one 4 out of 5 stars, and I kind of hope that I win some of those auctions on eBay. And then the last book I finished up this week was The Wife Upstairs by Rachel Hawkins. So this is a Jane Eyre retelling. I've never read Jane Eyre or watched it. I don't know anything about Jane Eyre, so you can go into this without knowing anything about Jane Eyre. It'll be fine. But this is about a girl who is currently running away from her foster care past, and she is walking dogs in this very rich neighborhood, and she ends up meeting this very rich man, and she kind of manipulates him into falling in love with her, and so she can marry into his household and just be happy and safe and stuff like that. But she starts hearing these really weird things about how he might have murdered his wife or his wife's best friend or something like that. And honestly, this book took some turns I was not expecting. Like I said, I don't know anything about Jane Eyre, so I'm not sure how your experience reading this book would be if you had read Jane Eyre, if you were a big Jane Eyre fan. But as somebody who knows nothing about it, I very much enjoyed it. I thought it was really interesting. Obviously, you know, there's a wife upstairs because that's the title. So you know his wife's not dead, and also she's got a point of view, like just a little bit in there. But I thought that the twists were really unique. Again, I have not read Jane Eyre, so they might not be unique if you've read Jane Eyre, but I thought the twists were just not what I was expecting. I thought the characters were incredibly unlikable, but that was kind of fun sometimes. I mean, Jane, our main character, is just a bitch. But there were some really interesting moments to it, and I liked how it ended up. I liked how it was, I don't want to spoil anything, but it wasn't completely terrible for everybody involved. This is my first Rachel Hawkins book. I know that she's written a lot of young adult. This is her first adult book, and I really very much enjoyed it. I could kind of tell that she is used to being a young adult writer, but honestly, it was good. It was a good time. I really enjoyed it. I think I ended up giving it a 4 out of 5. So these are the books I read this past week. That is all I have for today. I will talk to you later, and goodbye.